Boa tarde a todos. Esta sessão será, só para informar que esta sessão vai ser em inglês. Temos connosco a Joana Patrão e o Tiago Madaleno, a quem agradecemos muito estarem aqui. E agora vou passar para inglês. So this event, this artist talk and this book launch sort of marks the end of the exhibition that Joana and Tiago have opened about almost 1 month ago here in the exhibition room of the School of Arts. I don't know if you had the chance to see it yet, but if not, you still have a couple more days until Saturday. Yeah. So I will just make a brief introduction, and of course this also is this occasion when they will present the beautiful book object. You can also check it on the over there, the beautiful around this project that they will tell us a little bit more about during this session. And of course, feel free at any moment to make any question, comment, or to start a conversation if you feel inspired to. So I will just make a very brief introduction of the two artists. Joana Patrão and Tiago Madaleno, they have their respective solo practices, but they have been working as a duo for some time in this project Glossolalia, and this is the first major, let's say like this, presentation of this project. Glossolalia, it's a project where they draw on the world of road movies and cinema to reflect on the representation of the idea of a couple based on the linguistic and material properties of different media. Now I will present their bios separately. Joana Patrão is a visual artist whose practice fluctuates between video, photography, drawing and installation. Crossing historical, natural and cultural references, she seeks different ways of analyzing the idea of landscape, from its tensions to its relational possibilities. She graduated from the School of Fine Arts of the University of Porto, and she holds a master's in painting, and she also studied in Aalto University in Finland. Since 2014 she has exhibited regularly, with highlights including the solo exhibition A Brisa do Marmoto in Appleton Box in Lisbon, and the group exhibitions Desnaturadas in Rampa here in Porto, and Supernatural Voices in Mono, Lisbon. She frequently participates in artist residencies and publications. Thank you. And now going to Tiago. Tiago Madaleno's approach to art making is transdisciplinary. His creative process attempts to establish a dialogue between different medias, histories, properties and specificities in order to build fictional worlds that reflect upon image making, language and performance. He has a bachelor and a master's degree in fine arts from Fine Art University in Porto, and he has exhibited regularly since 2013. A highlight from his recent, let's say, production or presentation of work is the participation in the collective exhibition Lucid Reverie Panorama of Portuguese Contemporary Art, curated by E.Y. Xu and Rafael Fonseca at Galeria Municipal do Porto. His work has been supported and distinguished with several prizes and mentions, such as Novo Banco Revelação Award from 2017, promoted by the Serralves Foundation. So I would like to thank Joana and Tiago very much for being here, for the exhibition that we had the chance to see, and I think you have some projects that you would like to show us, and I think just to give like a spoiler to the conversation, not that anything is planned yet, but it's also very interesting. I'm very curious to see also how these two different practices that joined forces, let's say, in this one project, and I think your presentation will also give us a glimpse into that. Thank you very much.
Hello, thank you all for coming. So yeah, we prepared a presentation in which we're gonna show you a little bit like a scrolling through images of previous projects, our individual projects, how we approach art making, and then we will focus on more specifically on the exhibition and on the artist's book. I think João said it all, so Joana, let's go. And thank you, to the School of Arts to invite us to and to challenge us to do this project. Yeah. Okay.
So I'm Joana. I'm going to talk a bit about the work. João already gave the context and the media I usually work with. So we prepared a few images that we are going to scroll, and then I will focus on a specific project. Here you can see my most recent works with video installation, and I mostly work with relation with landscape and the way different media can convey that relation or can make different approaches to also to the context of a certain landscape. So I usually work through art residencies or in different places. And I try to approach it in a site-specific way in the exhibition or context-based and crossing different references. So I had this, and you already said some things. I'm trying to say other things, but yeah, just to give a visual context, maybe we can go to the project. And as you can see, sometimes I also mix different medias, drawing, video, photography. And for me, there are different ways of approaching a certain landscape and giving a different, also, yeah, a different way the body also involves with that landscape and the image making process. For instance, this one, it's made in the exhibition, so it's kind of a performance where I do the drawing. Yeah, so maybe. Okay, so we are approaching the project I chose to talk. This one was made in Appleton. It's an independent space in Lisbon, and it was the first video installation I made. So I chose this because I think it relates in a way with the exhibition we are presenting here. In this case, it's a very simple installation with only one video in the ground, and I was approaching a Lisbon landscape and different layers of that landscape through one material. It's the Lioche stone. It's a fossiliferous limestone, and it was formed 97 million years ago when Lisbon was a tropical sea. So you can see the fossils. They are kind of a coral reef that's already extinct, and you can see how they were trapped in that stone. And I was interested in these different layers that are still present in the urban landscape. I visit some geo sites where you can see the fossils, but also most of the images were made wandering through the city and recording the use of this stone as an ornamental stone. It is widely used in Lisbon, and it was first like a noble stone used for specific buildings, but after the earthquake, a big earthquake in 1755, it was used for the reconstruction of the city. So for me, it was a different layer, and how through the installation and through the video, I could tell that story. So the images, they go from a more, in the video montage, it goes from a more like a kind of dissolution of images as the sedimentation process, a long process in time. and then they go to a more cut images and more fragmented as the process of the earthquake and the eroding landscape. Yeah, that was the idea with this installation. And maybe okay. And the leaflet of the installation was also an accumulation of text. So this idea of time, the multiple things I was reading about this, about in the construction of the exhibition, and also this how this condensation of time could be also present in the text and the accumulation of text, and the relation with language. That's also why I brought this project, because we also have a relation with language in the exhibition. But here the language, for me, it was kind of a different way of accessing these multiple meanings and multiple layers, but making them kind of inaccessible for the audience. So they are condensed as a sedimented stone, and they become somehow not that relevant in comparison to that the time of the stone and the presence of that time and those fossils with 97 million years. This is a view of the installation again, and okay. I brought just it's a video of the video installed. So, and the sound is the recording of the installation. But I wanted to talk about the way the sound was created, because it was all made through the manipulation of the readings of those texts. So I started to cut the empty spaces in the discourse and the failures of my speech. So I was making this connection between my organic failures, my human time and human way of communication, and that geological time and that geological fault. So I was making this parallel, and you can see in the images they were made with a handheld camera, because I also wanted to have this tension and this idea of organic body behind the camera. And they start with this dissolution, this fades, alluding to the sedimentation and to the tropical sea where the fossils were first sedimented and the stone was created. And then it evolves to a more to the crackling. These sounds come from this kind of failures in speech. So it was mainly this, and it occupied the whole room, even though it's kind of the size of a pavement slab that's used in architecture. But the way the installation worked, the light was changing, and it was really intense also, because it was in the basement. So you had this, you were hearing the sound, and you had this profoundness until you reached the exhibition. So I think, I don't know if you have any questions about this or other works.
We can continue, but it's interesting to see some connections already with Glossolalia.
Okay. So now I'm going to talk a little bit about my journey. So I studied painting. Also, it was there that I met Joana. But usually I work with very different mediums. I focus very much on the development of a fictional universe and how I can use the symbolical properties of each medium and each material I like to use them to develop that fictional universe. And usually what I do is I present those works and those ideas as installation pieces or as performance pieces or as artist books. I think those are the three main fields. Today, I choose to talk a little bit about this project. It is called A Garden at Night. It was presented at Rampa, an independent space here in Porto in 2020. It was made with the support of Criatorio, a grant promoted by Porto City Council. And I think it's a project that you could see all these things that I talk. So the beginning of the project was a short story that I found related with the German artist Kurt Schwitters. Kurt Schwitters used to have a garden when he was a child, and that garden was destroyed by a group of children from his neighborhood. And in the moment that was happening, Schwitters lose control over his body and start having a series of epileptic seizures that led him to be sick for a period of 1 year. And supposedly, it is said that it was during that time that he started to draw and to paint for the first time. And I found that story interesting, and it became like the premise for this project, not only because of this idea of a lost garden or this like Garden of Eden story or the myth of the origin of the artist, but also because at the time I was thinking about gardens, and I was thinking about this idea of how a garden could embrace an idea of chaos and fragility or despair, and how that is almost a paradox in itself, because a garden is nature under control, and in that image of Schwitters losing control, I found like it was like a body that is connected with a body losing control and a nature being destroyed, and it was a strange image that connected those 2 points. And in the exhibition, what I did was I start to play with several stories that I found in Schwitters' biography. And I found this material. It is a photoluminescent ink, an ink that glows in the dark. And I like this material because in order to glow in the dark, the ink needs to absorb light for a period of 10, 15 minutes. And so it almost imitates a plant behavior in some way. It needs to receive light and then it could glow. And so this made me create like a cycle for the exhibition in order to allow the ink to appear and allow me also to use the exhibition space of Rampa, which look like a garage, and it's very rough, almost as a character in some way. And so the exhibition was, when the lights were on, the exhibition appears like doesn't have nothing. And when the lights turn off, a series of texts start growing almost like weeds around the space. And that was it. You have these text elements, a sound piece that I manipulate tap dancing recording and try to change those body sounds into the sounds of a forest or a soundscape of a forest. And then in a small room inside the space, you have also a video projection that regulates all the cycle. The video projection had a tiny sensor on the right top corner, and that sensor reacts to the amount of light of the video projection. So the video was divided into two halves. In the first half, it was all white with subtitles of characters talking about lost gardens. And in the second half, it was a more darker one with a series of glowing trees, and ghostly ghost trees that start to appear and to interact with the landscape. And yeah, these are some images of the video.
So just one quick question. How long were these cycles?
25 minutes.
25 each?
10 with the lights on and 15 with in dark.
So you, the audience could see the both moments with the invisible text and then with the without light. Yeah.
That was the idea, and the sound was really loud, especially in the first half when the lights were on and there is nothing in the space and it's just the tap recording, tack, tack, the tap dancing, tack, 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 tack. And I also made a book at the time, and the book we invited. I made the book with Sergio Alves, which was also the same designer who we work with in here, and the idea was to play with this two-path possibility. And in one side of the book, you could find texts of three authors that I invited to talk about these themes. I invited Alan S. Weiss, an American author, to expand this idea of garden paradoxes. Pedro Pousada wrote about Kurt Schwitters and a more historical and providing a contextualization to his biography and his artistic practice. And Nancy Perloff, another American author, to expand this idea of text expanding into space and visual poetry. And in the other half of the book, you have those trees that printed on top of a reflective paper, and that allows the possibility of the trees to multiply in the reflections, and that was like the game of the book. So now we're going to talk about the project. You start? I start. No? Okay. So I start. So the project started with the challenging of thinking about cinema. It was the starting point to do something with this idea of cinema, and we had this idea, this fictional premise of a couple that is unable to find a place to share, and so a house, and so they start to a road trip. They go to the road in order to find that place, in order to be together. So traditionally in road movies, there is this idea of a character that is very sad in his original context, and goes to the road and lives new experiences and talk to people, and then finds somehow a redemption or a resolution to that initial conflict. In here, the characters knew from the beginning that they wanted to be together in the car. They didn't want to meet anyone. They didn't want to go anywhere. They wanted to be in the car. And this was really important also for us, because the story mimics our own autobiographical context, because at the time we started, which was in 2023, I think, we didn't live together, and we used to to play around in our road trips when we were installing work or doing other stuff. We took our cell phones and a video camera and started recording and doing stuff like that. And help me, Joana.
So when we decided to do this work together, we started to read about road movies, but also about the idea of creating emotions through video. So we are reading some books about the idea of traveling and emotion, the form of affect. We were more focused in the idea of creating an emotional landscape through the installation, and we didn't want to make a movie as such. We wanted to make something that would be looping, so it would create this ideal space where we were always in this place. So this our first idea, I think, was to collect material and try to also to understand what having a camera inside the car could give us, having that way of looking through a camera, and which things we are going to pay attention to, or which ideas would emerge. So we started in 2023 recording lots of material. And I think only this year in the artistic residency, when we were here, we started to look at that material and create something and create a narrative around it.
And we created like a game because Joana generally was in the passenger seat because she doesn't drive, and she recorded something but didn't show me, and just told me what she recorded, and then I in my house wrote some fiction using that memory, and then I told Joana that, and then she recorded new things with those ideas of those stories in her head, and so we start building something with this ping pong approach.
I think also because we wanted to understand how our languages would merge, because we have this individual practice, and what would appear from that exchange of material.
And one day Joana sent me the videos she made, and my computer was unable to read those videos because I didn't have the video codecs necessary to read them, and so the computer generated those images, and we found them funny, and so we did print screens of them, and then we started to sequentializing them, put them in order, and it created like an animation that you could see in the exhibition, like something liquid. And we like very much this moment because we felt like it was something that speak about what we were doing, about this idea of two characters that, despite being too close in the car, they are trying to find each other and trying to use mirrors and shadows and light devices and a computer to connect in some way. And the displacement and this possibility of generating errors in those attempts was something that we really like and we really were interested in.
I think we are, this thing that happened by chance was also interesting because it was kind of revealing this process of translation and how something else would emerge from that, and it was not controlled by me or by Tiago, so it was something else that we accepted in this process of translation, and it was I think in the beginning this happened, so it was kind of foundational for us in the creation of this exhibition.
Yeah, and then we needed to find a way to organize all these images, because we had a lot of videos, and so we start thinking about using the white stripes that appear in the middle of the road, because we find that image really iconic. It was like something, when we think about road movies, we think about that idea of the white stripe in the road, and so we thought of putting those rectangles on the wall and using them as a formal display for the appearance of the video. So we're gonna manipulate, create a composition with these several videos we had. We're gonna create different ambience, different atmospheres, and they gonna appear simultaneously, almost like if it was like little lights that go on and off and on and off.
Yeah, and at the same time, it kept this fragmented appearance as it was our process, like these fragments we were collecting through time. And there are tiny windows that I think it gives, or we were thinking, they have this sensation you are only getting a part of an image, so you only have this tiny glimpse of a bigger image or a bigger
picture.
Yeah,
and it was funny because the format of the rectangles is close to the panoramic view, but the images are details and very close, and it's almost like we're trying to invoke the landscape in some way, because the landscape only appears through mirrors or through deformations and stuff like that. And what? and then we want to find a way to make the green video appear. and so we, during the process of making these images, we share stories and we share dreams. And I shared a dream with Joana in which I was inside a car that was inside a swamp, and that car only moves in a vertical way. And I told Joana that, and
and a few days after that, I had a dream about kind of the same thing, but I was inside the car before it exits the road, and there is this cut where I don't see it going down. I only have an image again when I'm outside the car with Tiago and we are looking to the car from the outside. So it was kind of this the blank space was kind of what happened in his dream. And I think at that time it was really in the beginning. We were all also thinking about how our works would merge, and this idea of the landscape appearing there. And in my dream, I recall I had this perception that all our previous work was inside that car. So it was a kind of reset. And so after that, we would create something that was starting there for both of our, for a new practice.
Yeah, but with those dreams in mind, when we look again to this glitch image, we relate with the swamp, and we start to imagine it could function inside the exhibition and could bring this a more dreamy side in a way. to the exhibition. It's a strange element in the exhibition, and it's really it's formally strange in the relation with the other elements. It's an animation. It invokes a more digital approach in some way, and the videos are more real. I don't know, and so what we did was, we start writing sentences, and we didn't want to the people to perceive who says which sentence, and so the sentences never end. Sorry, the sentences are in Portuguese. We're sorry about that, and they talk about these dreams, talk about the ideas we had and images we had when doing the other videos. And one thing that we reminded of was to invoke the display of the silent cards, the intertitles that appear in the silent movies. And it was like a play with the idea of Glossolalia of the title, because the title refers to something very phonetic. It's something related with sound, the sound of voice, and the sound of voice is almost absent from the exhibition, and so we had these intertitles, and usually the intertitles have this framing in the more classical ones, and so when thinking about bringing that framing, we find this image of the candles that burn from both sides, and we like this because of it's an idiomatic expression, something like living very intensely, but burning more rapidly.
Yeah, and also it's used when you sleep late and you wake up early, so you burn that time, the rest time and the dream time. So it was also related with the content that
it invokes also a little bit the narrative of the installation, or this display between two characters. It's like they are sometimes getting closer, sometimes one of them gets completely glitchy, sometimes they get further away, and I think, I'm not sure if this came into your mind, but to me, when I saw it, it also reminded me like of the movements of the wheel, like because sometimes you do like short movements, other times you do like, so I think it's a very rich element, and also how it kind of disrupts the continuity of the line, because that's what you do in a road movie. You follow the line, and then sometimes, or you dream of a car in a lake, or the other driver, or all the because you also collected kind of episodes or small stories that you tell throughout in this text.
No,
about the other driver that you see the.
No, we try. We try to play with words, and it's a very repetitive discourse in a way, and we wanted to have like a transparency in some ways.
Yeah, but I think it's somehow it can work as subtitles for some images, but as it has a different cycle from the rest of the video, it will pair with the videos in a different moment. So. You will always get a different context. If you're searching for context in the text, you will have different.
Mm-hmm. It's not synchronous. It's not synchronous. Yeah.
And also the candles, as they are not burning like in a sequence. You get this idea that everything is mixed, or at least we were thinking that way. So.
For us, also they also appear as characters almost because of that lack of chronological time in some way, because they are not burning, they are playing around, and it was pretty much about this idea of duration, of being present in some way, trying to.
Sometimes the sentences, I think they even allude to images, but not the images that are in the videos, but this idea of more like creating an image through text. So they also create some relations.
Yeah, and that idea of duration also becomes the starting point for the book in itself, because we wanted to do an infinite book. It was the starting point, a book that could be read in every way, and a book that doesn't have a beginning or an ending, that you could enter in any stage, that doesn't have a cover and a back cover, and based on that challenge, we invited 3 people to write about. We invited Filipa Rosário who is a researcher of road movies and wrote about road movies in the Portuguese context, and we invited her to write for the book, and we invited Sara&André, who are a duo of artists, to think about this idea of doing stuff together, being together. And we invited Madalena Folgado to expand the idea of Glossolalia. And what does this mean? And they answer with very different approaches. Sara&André answer with quotations. Filipa Rosário made aphorisms, and Madalena visual poetry. And so suddenly we had these 3 different approaches that we needed to be occupying the same spread without naming each other, and everyone have to have their voices protected in some way. And we like this idea of of playing like you need to read the book like a wheel in some way,
and also how those different voices that are saying different things about those thematics, how they in the same page they could create new relations between each other, and with our images, that all, as you could see, they turn, so they will create different relations in different pages.
Yeah. And then we thought of using the rectangle display that appear in the exhibition also in the book, and at the center you can see the white rectangle, almost like those marks on the road. We inverted some stills that we took from the videos, and we cut them off the rest of the book, so they move independently of the rest of the book, which is, I think, we didn't think about this when we were doing, but we were talking about this last week, of this idea that mimics also what happens in the exhibition, of the 2 videos living independently, but at the same time they found moments in each other. And yeah, we made the book with Sergio Alves, and the book has also several details that refer this idea of being on the road, and the idea of road. The typeface is based on the American highways typeface used in the American highways, and this idea of using the silk screen to do the book, and to have this white over black, like the painting over the road, and then to sorry, I like books, and to explain all this, you have like this yellow stripe that enables the book to move, and yeah.
And the typeface there is the one used in Portuguese highways.
Yeah, I think it's this. I don't know.
Thank you, Tiago and Joana. I don't know if anyone has a question ready or that came about. If not, I wanted to approach something which is, I think these both dimensions that I will mention, they are present in both of your works, but perhaps in Joana's work, there is more a feeling of sensoriality, of hapticism, of touch, of a quantity of qualities that are more sensorial, and in Tiago more often the text, the visual poetry you've mentioned a lot, the text, the narrative, even some connection also with drawing and painting appears. No, and so in this exhibition you both worked both dimensions. You played it, because you also mentioned that this was sort of a game, that your process of work was had some not rules, but some strategies, and you both kind of played with each other, or was it more separate? Let's put it like that.
I think it had different phases, because the recording of the images, as Tiago said, as I don't drive, mostly it was were made by me. But some we did with when the car was stopped. So some images emerged from Tiago having the camera in his hand. But we had this division, and also the writing started with Tiago, because he was making these texts about images I was telling him. So the roots of the work start with separately, more or less, in a communication. But then in the assembling of the piece and the way we made the montage, I think we are always like together making decisions, or so I think we are both really present in the.
There are practical
works,
parts that we felt more comfortable doing, like organizing archives. Joana loves it. I hate it, and
yeah, going through all the videos.
Yeah.
And
it's really boring for me, but then we do all the editing part, because and also because we discovered that we have really different relations with editing images. For instance, I react much more to the sound part than to the image, and Joana reacts more generally edits without sound, for instance,
and the sound comes afterwards.
And so doing both parts together allows us to have different types of images and videos, and then in the end we choose together, oh, okay, we could use that, and okay, we could use that. Yeah.
There's also a feeling like when I was inside, I felt really like, oh, I miss going for a road movie. It's been some time. You feel really like you are in a bubble. You feel like you are experiencing this separation that you have from the world, but you see outside, but in a way you are inside a different reality. And I think you really capture it very well in this surrounding strategy of the line that kind of engulfs your body into this experience. I want to ask you if you could talk a little bit about the temporalities inside, mostly of the video, because as you mentioned, it's also video, but the animation is more timeless. Not timeless, but not chronological. While I feel the surrounding video has more of a sense of a specific time structure. Like you have some moments of night, you have some moments of day. If you didn't experience, there are different rhythms also that are very interesting. And sometimes you are invited to see everything at once. Sometimes you are invited to like glance from one side to the other between the piscas, the changing light that plays in both sides. So how did you think about this temporality, let's say, of this road trip?
Yeah, I think some things emerge while doing the recordings, like the idea of the night as a different feeling, also in the way, like you are arriving home, you have a different feeling about that. It's
more intimate.
More intimate, quiet. But also, I think during the process of creating the montage of the assembling the video, we are reacting kind of intuitively to how one image would succeed the other and how that would create something, and creating these sensorial relations. And I think it had different phases, but I think it started to emerge like different ambiences, and then we organized as also different moments of intensity, of relaxation, meditation, so different moments of a trip, like between the monotony and the more ecstatic.
Yeah, we could contextualize those images inside a narrative sequence, but I think people doesn't get them that way, because it started almost like with the sticker of a bird and not the original bird. It's not a bird. The first image of the bird is a sticker. Is a sticker that appears in the highways. And that starts to, because of the movement of the card, starts to become animated, and so we like this idea of animating an image, which is it's related with the idea of cinema, and then it enters shadows of hands, essentially, not the bodies, but the shadows of the body, and a body that moves like a dolphin. And then it evolves to a night sequence, and in the night sequence, the light starts to talk with each other in a Morse code, and they are recognizing it themselves, and then it evolves like to the turning wheel, which is the camera animating the wheel with the movement of the camera. And in that moment, which is the most intense moment, you have the touches and skin and reds appearing, and so the composition, kind of it's almost like a triangle, because the things goes from an idea of recognition into an idea of touch and an idea of release in some way, because the moment after the turning wheel is the lake ones, the ones in the water, the one moment that we didn't film inside the car.
Yeah, and we also wanted with that moment that the green video would kind of expand and to bring that the water.
To find the connection between the two.
And create this disruption moment in the cycle of the videos.
Yeah, and the last was like, the soundscape reminds us of a goodbye scene in some way, because a lot of sunsets and it's a more slow paced part, and it ended with this scrolling of bling 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 bling, like casino machines in some way.
But resembling this idea of chance and how that that expanded time, and the chance appeared during the process.
Yeah, but there's a lot of adjusting mirrors. There's a lot of trying to find a place to be, and trying to find the real images, and we try to avoid using the front view of the car, which is the most common view when we look at, I don't know, it's a car in movement, so it's like a video camera capturing scenes that are coming, and we choose to use the little mirrors and the distortions and yeah.
And all this mediation, like how we could have the outside through elements that were inside, how we could reach each other through shadows and lights. So there was this idea.
How, because I know that your work is, the way you think sound is also very important, and you often use processes of translation in some sense in both of the projects that you presented today. How did you think about which processes did you went through to create the soundscape of the exhibition?
So it started with the recordings from the camera, so multiple sounds coming from the radio or the
the noise
the
of the road, the talking, and
then they were manipulated.
And we created loops. We tried to find the things that could function, and one thing that we really like was to distort voices and to make voices sound like other things. For instance, a CD that was playing at the time of one of the videos was Frankie Goes to Hollywood. Welcome to the Pleasure Dome, and one of the Power of Love is one of the musics that appear, and for instance the sentence "not war" become "hold on" in the last part of the video, and that idea was funny because it also connects with Glossolalia and this phonetic distortion and this possibility of language expansion in some way, and yeah.
Is there any question from the audience?
Someone using the black wall as a cropping the image, because that's what I think you did. But I also want to know if you did mapping with the white things. And also I want to know how many projectors did you use for this project? And if you're thinking about interactivity in projects like this. Thank you.
Okay, so yes, we use video mapping to frame like the images exactly on the painted rectangles. There are 4 projectors in the room. 3 of them are connected in a program that's called Milumin. It was that's Non Fonseca that made that part, but thanks to that program we have everything synchronized between the three videos, and yeah.
Green one is an independent project.
Yeah, and we didn't thought about interactivity with the spectator. That was the question, or okay. So yeah,
the interactivity. The idea was to be confused, receive a lot of images at the same time, and move around and see them. Yeah.
Yeah, but we created the whole. The relations between images, it was all crafted so that interactive element, we didn't thought it was important because it was about our narrative of that trip. So I think obviously the spectator interacts in the way it interprets all that material, but not in a body interaction or.
And one thing we find funny was the size of the stripes. It's a lot bigger than the ones we found on the street, painted on the street. And so when we put those stripes on the wall... Okay. And when we put the stripes on the wall, they are a little bit higher than the usual image display, I think. They look like... I don't know, we felt like we are there and we are not at the same time. It's almost like a virtual space. It's a strange space in some way, and we like that, yeah. Yeah.
So if there's no more questions, I imagine you have dreamt a lot. You've watched a lot of road movies. You've traveled a lot by car, so you dream about cars. So thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for the exhibition, and thank you all for coming to this talk. And if you haven't seen it yet, feel free. Until Saturday, the exhibition will be on. We also have our program of conference talks, concerts, exhibitions starting tomorrow at 6:30 here with Joasia Crisa, Valravalha, and Pita Arriola. So we invite you to come again if you have the chance. Thank you very much and have a good evening.
Thank you.